Testing. Damn. Alright. Okay, hello. I don't know how long this is gonna be, but it probably will. If I think about it, it'll probably be like, what, an hour and a half? Oh no, I'm just gonna talk until I feel like it's comfortable. Anyways, welcome to the stream. This is going to be a fun one, and I think I got everything set up to where I won't like have a skewed setup like the last one I did. Alright, One Piece. Yeah, this has been quite a ride. I'm almost back in like August. I picked up from where I was back in Alabasta. It was a really good time. It was a really good time, and I'm so glad I did, because this stretch from Alabasta to what's it called? The end of Pre-Timeskip has been so freaking good. Every arc has hit in like their own ways, and even the ones before Alabasta have been great. It's just that I kind of put a hold into reading One Piece because of like life situations. Like I was into it and all. It was just that other things got in the way, like school and other anime. But I pretty much found a way to be able to focus on One Piece, not exclusively, but like where I'm able to pay enough attention to that to like keep reading. But yeah, now I've reached chapter 597 last week, and now this is gonna be like a chance for me to discuss about each arc during this time period, because I know the next one, like the ones during post time skip, are like incredibly bloated, and that's gonna take a while to talk about. But these ones are, with like a few exceptions, they're generally shorter, so I don't have to dedicate as much time to talk about them and stuff. Anywho, as you can tell, I only have 4 tiers because I honestly think there isn't any arc so far that is really considered himself worthy of like a D tier. But yeah, that's just kind of a testament to how good all these arcs are. All of, like, even the least good. I'm not gonna like say which arc I rated like the lowest, but you know what, we'll get to that when we get to that. We'll just go in chronological order. Let me just like arrange this real quick. Orange Town's there. This is before that. It's your village. Bradier. Arlong. Oaktown. First Mountain. Whiskey Peak. First Mountain's here. Little Garden is after. And then Drum Island. Skypiea is over here. And no, I skipped. Alright, everything else is good. Okay. Yeah, all of, what was it? Frick, I was about to say something. Oh, yeah, let me just kind of discuss my, like, the standards I have for ranking these. Pretty much my standards for each of these are, like, the plot itself, of course, characters, emotions, villains, all that jazz. One thing I do need to mention is I'm only going to be talking about the manga unless I specifically mention the anime for something it did. Cause I did watch the anime like alongside where I was in the story, like where like the manga I was like a few arcs ahead of where I was in the anime, and I watched the anime up to around like somewhere in Skypiea, and then that's kind of where I like stopped and decided to like watch certain scenes of the anime if I felt like that was an important moment and just like wanted to see it for comparison. Okay, so Romance Dawn, I actually used to rate this arc lower than I do now. Like, I thought it was good to begin with, but it's just like looking back, it just feels like even better given how like everything was set up from like, I just love how like efficient it was at establishing both Luffy and Zoro. Luffy, in the case of him, sorry, my memory is gonna be all over the place with these early arcs in particular because it's been like years since I actually read. It's been like at least a year since I've read some of these arcs. But yeah, Luffy stabbing himself in the eye. That's an iconic moment. it does a really good job at showing how much of an influence Shanks has like been in Luffy's character as a whole. Plus his backstory, it wasn't sad or anything. I mean, it was emotional for Luffy, but not for me at the time because it's at the very beginning. I didn't really have enough time to really like I got invested, but I didn't necessarily care enough to get like emotionally moved by the character. But yeah, it was, that part was an exciting beginning. We get our first instance of hockey, by the way. Chapter 1 with the fish, like, oh my gosh, Shanks losing his arm to the fish. It's just, man, it's just like even better than I thought. And then of course Zoro's story with what's it called, Kuina. That was, people like to dunk on that story, but I think it was just like, I like its simplicity compared to everything else we see in the future. Of course it's not my favorite, but it does a really good job at establishing Zoro's character, the importance of his, the importance of what promises mean to him, because he takes them very seriously. That's why he never, what's it called? That's why when he was on that tied up on that cross, he kind of stayed where he was, didn't even try to break free, because the kid promised that he would come back, and obviously that kind of broke it. But that just goes to show how seriously he takes promises. And plus Queen, people like to meme on Queen falling down the stairs, and I do it the same with down these stairs. But it's definitely such an important moment to have death as unexpected and sudden as that, because despite all these people with superhuman abilities and whatever, people are still fragile. They can die in any form, and it kind of goes to show how fragile life is, and how fragile life is, how unfair it is that people's lives can just be taken like that in such an unceremonious manner. But yeah, that was a very good point. We also got introduced to Kobe. I really like Kobe. He's a bit of a wimp in this arc, and it's just cool that he got to he got his moment to shine with wanting to be in the Marines and all later on, and Luffy helping him achieve that goal by just roughing him up in a sense was really good in the bar. So it's kind of exciting to see two friends forced to go in different paths but still supporting each other, because they love each other. They just can't show it publicly, otherwise it'll ruin Kobe's dream. And yeah, what else? Albedo was introduced. I didn't really care for her then. Helmeppo, it was I forgot his father's name, but Helmeppo's whatever. He's a bit of a wimp as well. More so a scummy wimp by just running to his dad. But his dad is pretty cruel anyways. We get to introduce Luffy's Gum powers, going to show that he's been training. He's been training to figure out how to use it. And also, actually no, that was in Orange Town. Yeah, I think that's just about everything. But yeah, it's a very good setup arc. I will probably give this B tier. Orange Town, I originally had this above Romance Dawn, but the deeper I get in the story, the less of an influence it has in comparison. Don't get me wrong, Orange Town is still a very good arc. What's it called? We have, first of all, Buggy D Clown. He gets introduced. Love his design, and I kind of like how he was despite obviously being a bit of a goon, and especially how we see him later on, after this arc, it's just cool to see him being intimidating for once. And yeah, he was just his fight with Luffy was good. I I do find it funny how like his what's called the solution to the fight was basically just Luffy kicking him in the balls because of course. What else happened? Chocho, the dog. That story was very emotionally moving. It did make me cry when I read it. Like obviously it doesn't have much influence, but it's just like a nice. It was. I'm a sucker for like sad dog stories, so it definitely hit me in the feels. Plus, it's a nice parallel to the idea of like having like a valued treasure with him defending the old man's house even after he passed away, and then only to see again getting like burned down was very very tragic. We get introduced to Nami here. Nami, like you can tell there was like more to her, and we definitely get to see that. Like we definitely get to see it later on. Her introduction is very interesting because like she definitely has like a what's it called I'm trying to think when she first met Luffy. This is basically going. I might get details wrong, so forgive me for that. But what's it called? I remember. Yeah, when Nami like first saw Luffy, she was kind of just like being like nice and polite and whatever, and then she finds out that he's a pirate, and Nami's kind of like pretty iffy by that point onward, but she does see like some of Luffy's like good side, and that Luffy is different than other pirates, which makes her like Luffy more, but still not quite like very trusting of Luffy. But yeah, she's kind of. I just like her. I like how Oda like approached. How do I put this? I like how Oda approached developing Nami by just giving us crumbs here and little crumbs in each arc afterwards. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyways, Nami's cool at the beginning. I don't have much to say about her. Yeah, and also the anime did the early portions of like this, like pretty much here up to Sierra Village was pretty well handled, all things considered. Oh, I forgot Zoro carrying Luffy in the cage when he got trapped in there. That was pretty funny. Yeah, that's everything. I will. I like Orange Town, but I think I'll. Do I want to put it in high C or low B? I'll put it in high B, and then when I see how it stacks up against the other arcs, I'll move it down or something. Alright, Sierra Village is next. I am a personal defender of Sierra Village because I know people don't like this arc as much, or is like pretty unpopular, but I think it's a little underrated. What's it called? Usopp's introduction was very good. A nice, what's it called? We got the boy who cried wolf, always telling lies, but they do benefit some. But like his lies are more so. I mean, of course, there's the part where like he, running across the village, saying that pirates are coming pretty much each day, and then you have his little crew. I think they were named after fruits. I forgot their names, but yeah, they were cool. I mean, not the kids, but it was just very cute that he basically played like a game of pretend pirates. The villagers getting tired of him kind of makes sense. I do like, despite his father being absent, he's like proud of his father being, what's it called, like a pirate, let alone part of Shanks' crew. So, which is deeply tragic that his dad wasn't there, and then of course his mom didn't survive the mom. How do I put this? Oda likes to kill moms. I'll just say that. And his Usopp's mom was no different. I gotta reread that portion where like like about Usopp's backstory, because it's definitely gotten fuzzy. But we got to see Usopp telling his stories to Kaya, given like kind of just showing that they do bring happiness to someone in the village, which is very sweet. Kaya is sick. Um, Kaya Kaya is sick both literally and just like as a character. She's just like a she's just a really sweet character, and I like her quite a bit. Kuro being the butler, probably like his Kuro is so funny as a villain because his plan actually wasn't that bad. Where he was basically like he was done with he was done with like being a pirate and wanted to do things the easier way. So he came to Zero Village, decided to work under like Kaya, and like try to quote unquote take care of her for years on end. And what's it called? And like as soon as what's it called? As soon as Kai is dead, like the inheritance was gonna go to him, and then of course he'll use that to do his business or whatever. It was a good plan, but but we get like some, but like when Luffy and the gang come, first off their interaction, like Luffy and Usopp's interaction was great, given how like Usopp trying to protect it, but obviously it's obviously not real. Like they were gonna get along. What's it called? Oh my god, I forgot about the scene where Usopp's not Usopp's standing up scene in the climax, but the one where he was at the place that Kyle lives, and like, oh my gosh, bro, Kuro taking a hit at Usopp's pride, bro. Like at least like trying to, but Usopp just like not letting him talk shit about his dad. That was a very good moment. But like you can tell that something that like I think, frick, I'm forgetting. I'm trying to think about what happened. I remember the plan was like to wait for his pirates to come or something. Yeah, and the moment he felt like they might find out, he decided, screw it, I'm just gonna kill people early. And he started doing that with his. I wish I had my manga with me right now. All the manga that I have are at home, so I'm just doing this strictly off of memory. This is way tougher than I anticipated, especially for the earlier arcs. Oh my gosh. Whew, Syrup Village. I'm just gonna cut this one short. Yeah, the final fight was good. That's basically the first villain that Luffy really struggled with. So respect to that, I guess. Yeah, the only thing is that it went on a little too long, but that's okay. I will give this. Do I like this more than Orange Town? I actually made a list a while back. Let me check. Nah, I put it right below. I'm just gonna put it like here for now. Alright, Baratie. Okay, this is a very good arc. This one I actually remember more of. I forgot. I'm forgetting more names. Sonya's introduction was good. We get. Oh my gosh. Wow, I am blanking. Do I just do like I don't want to do a lightning round the East Blue because the East Blue is a good saga. I'm just. Frick, I hate having bad memory. Oh my gosh. Sonya's introduction. The Dawn Creek fight. I'm gonna get into the backstory in a second, but oh my gosh, I remember that moment. I remember that it was that one disrespectful Marine. I forgot his name. Sanji was serving for that guy. And like, I think he kept yelling about like the cook or whatever, and there was like a piece of hair. And the issue wasn't that the dude was being an a-hole. The issue Sanji had was when he like just, I think, threw the food on the floor because he couldn't eat it. But that was just like a really good moment of showing frick. It was a really good moment of showing how Sanji understands the value of food, and that was just a really good moment of showing like that, because that was the only moment that actually ticked him off. We get that one subordinate of Don Krieg that came. Sanji fed him, despite like no matter like he understands what it means to be hungry. He wasn't gonna let anyone be hungry. That was a great moment. Luffy trying to pressure him to join the crew, kept saying no. That was pretty funny. And then we get Don Krieg coming in and just like trying to wreak havoc. After the subordinate went to Don Krieg, reported about Baratier, and then they came to try to take the ship. And that was a good. I mean, yeah, came to like take over the ship, started to be cannon fire, and then eventually Mihawk comes. I almost forgot this is where the introduction of Mihawk is, and oh my gosh, probably the best introduction in like the East Blue. That's easily the best introduction of the East Blue. Holy crap, Mihawk's a cool character. Yeah, he's a one man army. Freaking slices Don Krieg's ship in half with one swing. Zoro mentioned back in Romance Dawn that like Mihawk was his goal, or like to be the world's strongest swordsman, and Mihawk was basically that. Basically the guardian of that, because he is the world's strongest swordsman. Their duel was amazing. Whew. This duel was so freaking good. It was fighting with a butter knife is absolutely raw. Getting bodied by one is raw. We got such a cool line from Zoro saying that like scars on the back are a swordsman's shame. I just remembered that when he was like down, I just remember like standing here just like arms wide open, allowing him to receive a scar on his chest. That was great, and it gave Mihawk respect for Zoro. So we know, like that, like right from the jump, we already know that they are definitely going to see each other at some point again. I mean, of course they will, but sooner than the final confrontation or whatever. But yeah, that moment gave me chills, and I remember watching it in the anime years later, because my experience was that I watched the anime like a few years ago up till Syrup Village, and then I stopped to read the manga, and then I kept going the manga up to Alabasta, and then sometime when I picked it up again in Alabasta, I went back to watching the anime, and that's when I got to Baratier. And then they adapted that moment. It just reminded me how, like, it gave me chills re-experiencing that moment in the anime. That's how good that moment was. Anyways, Zoro stealing the show from Sanji was kind of a baller move. We got Sanji's backstory. That was good. That was really good. Where they're on the island with Zeph. Oh yeah, speaking of which, Zeph, I forgot to mention him. Zeph is a great character. Is seeing how he's basically a mentor to Sanji. And we learn about Sanji's dream, the All Blue. How they were stuck on that island at one point for like 80 days, and I think Sanji had was quarreling with Zeph, but and eventually decided to stay on the other side of the island. But Zeph continued to give him giving him all he had, and then Sanji eventually comes back trying to see if the man was still alive. He is. He's carrying a huge bag, and Sanji's like, "Oh, he had all this food, yada yada yada." Opens the bag, it's all gold, no food. And then we look at Zeph. He ate his fucking foot. To survive. Whew. That is true hunger right there. Thankfully they got saved. Cause damn, that really hit for Sanji. But yeah, he's gained like a newfound respect after that. That's kind of what made him he learned the cooking skills from Zeph over the years on the Baratier, but over time it kind of mellowed out his dream to be to find the All Blue, because that's something you actively seek. But he became content with looking for Zeph, and then Luffy comes back trying to basically reviving his spark for looking for the All Blue. Hold on. And Sanji tries to keep denying it, saying that he's content, but the people on the crew know that he should go out there. But before that, I'm getting ahead of myself. Luffy versus Don Krieg. That was a really good fight. That had some really good paneling as well. I wish I could show it on stream, but I don't have the manga here, that volume of the manga. So, but yeah, that was a really good fight. My favorite fight in the series up to that point, in terms of action, Mihawk versus Zoro's first match was kind of stole the show from it there. But in terms of an actual fight, that was probably the best one. Yeah, Don Krieg gets taken down, and then there comes the discussion of Sanji trying to join the crew, but obviously he refuses. So the Brody basically they quote unquote fire him, and Sanji realizes that he needs to go. He needs to search for the All Blue, and so he finally goes with Luffy. Oh my gosh, there was one detail I forgot about. Nami leaving. Nami left them. They stole their shit. They stole the Going Merry, which I also forgot the Going Merry came with Usopp on Syrup Village. Yeah, that was kind of a bit of a scumbag moment, but it was cool seeing that little those couple of panels where we see that Nami did actually grow a connection with them, whether she liked it or not. And just kind of having to sever that before she got too attached was a little tragic. I kind of felt for her because I knew something was going on, especially when she said Belmere. Skipping to the ending again, that was a pretty emotional ending. Sanji saying farewell to the Baratier, Zeph, and now heading with Luffy, Zoro, and Usopp, heading to where they are. And also you meet Zoro's, I think they're his brothers. Either way, they know him. They're bounty hunters. I forgot the two names, but yeah. They went with them to Arlong, and that's where Bounty ends. Best arc yet at this point. I am going to give it a high B. I could probably rank a bunch of these arcs in S tier, but I am going to be a little gatekeepy on that regard. Okay, so end of the Baratier. We head into Arlong Park. This arc I remember somewhat well. I think this is where I can start remembering stuff. Yeah, so Arlong Park, they arrive. You get Moo Moo the cow. This arc hits you. We get the sprinkles of Nami, especially at the beginning, getting that she doesn't trust pirates, but she goes with Luffy because, Well, one, because they made like a trade-off deal or something, but also because Luffy is just that guy. He is too friendly to not accept. Um, yeah, and so Nami comes with them to Sierra Village. They help each other. I mean, they help Usopp save them from Kuro. Then she joins up Baratie, and then Nami takes the ship, and now she's on her own. And yeah, Arlong Park is really good. Frick. I forgot how the beginning of the arc started. Zoro getting taken away. That's what happened. And that interaction with Zoro and Nami when they were at Arlong's crew, that was really good. Nami faking stabbing herself as well with Usopp. This stream is like jumping all over the place. But screw it, y'all are in for the ride. I can't speak clearly, so crap, I should have taken notes. That would have been way more helpful. Because when I'm like thinking about these arcs in deep, because like when I'm thinking about these arcs on my own time, I'm just thinking about like the big moments. I'm thinking about maybe some smaller moments, but generally the bigger moments. And then now that I'm like thinking about them like long and hard, it's I'm starting to get lost in like the little moments as well, which is making things really difficult. Oh man. Okay. Oh my gosh, we meet the villagers. We get to see like how Arlong is like controlling the village and stuff. The house is upside down as well. Belmere is kind of like an example of what happens if you go against Arlong's like rule, and so that let's stream. Maybe I'll just write notes. I don't know. If the next stream I do, I'm gonna make a full list. I can't talk. Next tier list that I do, I'm going to it's gonna be of like it's the next tier list I make is gonna be when I catch up, and so opinions might change, but I am taking notes because holy shit, this is a train wreck right now. Yeah, I'm just gonna talk about the big moments. Zoro's interaction with Nami was great. We get to see. Oh, frick. I'm just gonna talk about Nami's backstory now. Nami's backstory was very tragic. We finally get an understanding as to why Nami is the way she is. The fact that she worked under Arlong for I think it was like 8 years. Yeah, 8 years. As a kid, dealing with Arlong constantly yelling because of the promise that that he'll give Nami the village when she saves up 100 million berries. And she got very close to doing that, but Arlong is a bit of a snitch, so he told the Navy. And he got this stupid guy with the stupid laugh in the anime. It was it was very goofy. That dude was an asshole. I wanted to punch him in the face so badly. Yeah, that hurt. Nojiko is a very good stepsister. Oh my gosh, Nami finding out about that. And then Nami running back to the villagers, telling about it. The villagers know. Genzo gives her a hug, just like telling her that it's enough, and like that she doesn't need to go through all the suffering alone anymore. And so the villagers decided like it's better to fight. It's better to die fighting than staying under Arlong's rule any longer. Nami tries to stop them, and it's not worth it. Genzo grabbing the blade. Holy crap. And so they all come running, and they all run. They all head off to Arlong, and Nami just loses it. She keeps stabbing herself. She keeps stabbing the tattoo, especially that she made that she got to like solidify her status as an Arlong pirate. That part hurt a lot. I was crying when this part came in the manga, and Luffy comes. Nami is like, "What are you doing here? You don't even know." They haven't even listened. Like, Luffy never actually listened to like her backstory either. He just doesn't care. He doesn't care. All he sees is that his friend is suffering, and Nami tries to keep telling her to run away, but at that point, there was no use, and so Nami does the things he hates most and asks for help. Luffy gives her the hat, and we get the iconic walk. Well, of course I will. And they're all there posted up. This moment was done even better in the anime with like the voice acting and everything. So when I got to that part in the anime, it hurt just as hard. Oh man. The walk to Arlong Park happens. The two bounty hunters related to Zoro or something, they block the way because this is their fight. And we get like all these separate instances where Luffy's fighting Arlong, but not too long after he gets like stuck under the thing. Sanadi has to help him. Zoro did fight Arlong. You get to see like Arlong tends to open his Am I going too much into detail? It's gonna be 10 hours otherwise. Frick. Either way, there's like all these separate fights going on, especially Usopp's with was he fighting? No, he wasn't fighting Hachi. Frick. I can't remember, but Usopp gets his moment to shine by actually not killing, but defeating a fishman, which is very impressive. Yeah, especially given this stage in the story. Yeah, all these fights were really good. And then we get the moment at the end, Luffy being in the room with like all the maps or something. Like, it's actually terrifying how many maps that Arlong made Nami draw as a kid. And so Luffy just decides to go apeshit and destroy it all, which was such a good moment. And we get that last kick at the very end, setting him down like all the buildings. Building crumbles as well. Luffy comes out on top. Nami crying again, telling him thank you. That moment made me cry as well. And Luffy screaming to Nami that he is her friend. Really good stuff. A really good conclusion as well with the party and everything. Yeah, I will give that is a do I give it S? I'll give it A. It is an A tier arc. A pretty high A tier though. It's a very good arc. Alright, so from this arc going forward, these next few arcs are pretty short, but I am going to just talk about the broader details because if I talk about every little thing, I'm going to be here for too long. Things are going to be too messy, and I don't think I can mentally handle it. So, yeah, Logetown is next. This was a really good short arc. I personally love this one. And this is like one of like the two arcs I would consider to be better in the anime because we get like a couple of filler. They were filler like episodes, but they just provide a very good character moments for Usopp and Sanji, who didn't really get that much time to shine in this arc. We get the introduction of Smoker and Tashigi, Both are very good Marines. I really like both of them, and I love how Tashigi looks like Kuina. So Zoro just gets like all embarrassed and stuff. We got the scene in the shop where Zoro's getting his new sword. And that scene was absolutely raw, where he just holds his arm out and like it just starts dropping. It is, oh my gosh, it's streamed for 45 minutes. I'm only on Loketown. Yeah, the scene in the shop was very good. I forgot that Shiga didn't know Zoro was a pirate at the time, but she eventually figures it out. What else we got next? Luffy fighting Smoker. That was very funny. I just love that we just get like this really short arc for Loketown being right beside the Grand Line is so good. Just being like a town at the beginning, at the end, where Roger was executed. Luffy gets to look at it as well, and then Luffy eventually ending up there because Buggy and Alvito return, and they managed to like tie him up on there to like execute him. And yeah, Buggy was just like simply a goofball in this arc. One thing I forgot to mention is Buggy, like there are cover stories in the manga that aren't always in the anime. I'm pretty sure the anime did get made an episode out of this one, but you get to see that as well, like where Buggy's getting his body parts and heading to Loketown. And yeah, eventually the chaos gets to a point where Luffy just ends up on the execution board, and Luffy didn't even know that he was gonna be the one getting executed. It was so funny. But yeah, Luffy's like, well, I guess I'm dead. Just a pure smile on his face, just like Gold Roger. And Smoker is stunned by it, just that he can die with a smile on his face, just like Gold Roger. Once again, Luffy just being the embodiment of the next Gold Roger is perfect. And the lightning strikes, and we see like this mysterious figure at the time, a mysterious figure, standing there, and you could tell he was basically just talking about like fate is turning or something. Basically, Luffy just getting like superior plot armor. That's how I describe it. Anyways, they make their getaway. That was a fun chase, and they eventually make it back on the Going Merry, and they head towards the Grand Line. And to this day, we still got the biggest. To this day, Loketown has the biggest flex. Like, the biggest flex is at the very end of Loketown, where we see they're in the manga especially. There's a panel where there's a scene where like all the Straw Hats are like putting their foot on the barrel, declaring what kind of gold they want and what kind of gold they're chasing after. Luffy is to be the Pirate King. Nami is to make a map of the world. Zoro is to be the world's greatest swordsman. Sanji being finding the All Blue, and Usopp being a brave warrior of the sea. And they all kick their foot on the barrel, and then they say to the Grand Line, and we just get like an amazing spread of like the ship rocking in the waves of like the storm, and like at the corner you just see end of prologue, because that was chapter 100. That is such a flex, because not many mangaka can say chapter 100 was where they finished the prologue. That was an incredible moment, and that part also gave me chills. Anyways, biggest flex of the entire series so far. I also forgot that they tried to burn the ship, but they failed to do so because of the rain. Yeah, this is sitting comfortably in A tier. I'm gonna just do that. Alright, we have made it to the worst, quote unquote, worst arc in One Piece. Reverse Mountain. Why is that the case? It's simply too short. Well, okay, it's okay. It's not too short, but it's short. That's literally it. There's the least to talk about here. Let's see. They go in the mount. We do get a good bit of world building with Reverse Mountain. Seeing how like that's literally like probably one of the better ways to get in, and the way they managed to get in was very good. We get Laboon's introduction, and we get Laboon and Crocus. Crocus being a member of Roger's crew is really cool. We get Nami gets the log post. We learn about Laboon's backstory, which is pretty sad. This is one of the backstories. This is one of the weaker ones. Not because it's like bad or anything. It's still very tragic, but it's just like I don't know. It's yeah. Laboon's get sadder later on, but we'll get to that when we get to that. We get Vivi and Mr. Nine, I think, right? Yeah. Well, she's Miss Wednesday at the moment. But yeah, we get them. They're just very goofy and whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much. Oh yeah, we get to see like how there's like 7 pathways or something to get to the red line. And oh yeah, I forgot. Vivi and Miss Wednesday and Mr. Nine said they needed a lift because their ship got destroyed by Laboon. Also, Luffy fighting Laboon was pretty funny. Yeah, they needed a lift, so they take them to Whiskey Peak, and that's pretty much where the story ends. Yeah, that's comfortably sitting at the bottom. Not because it's anything bad. It's actually a pretty solid arc. It's just very short. Okay, next up we have Whiskey Peak. This is also a pretty weak arc in my opinion. Not because it's bad or anything, but I think this was honestly the first moment. This was honestly the first arc where I could say there was like a moment I straight up didn't like. I mean, there were parts that were kind of like that weren't like amazing, but in other arcs, but this arc has like a genuine this is a turn off moment. But before I get to that, Whiskey Peak, I do love how like the villagers are all like welcoming at first. That was very good. And then we learn later on this like it's a little too good to be true, and it is. They all get drunk and pass out. Zoro's the only one up because of course he is. He is him. He drinks too much booze anyways. He's used to this. Takes down 100 people. That was badass. Oh yeah, we got the booger dude and the one that like can change their weight at will or something. Zoro fends them off, and then Luffy eventually wakes up, notices that all these people are passed out. He is stupid though because I mean Luffy's a bit of a dummy because what's it called? He trusts this one dude that's just like passed out, saying that Zoro took him out, which is not wrong, but this is the part that I don't necessarily like, is like I understand like Luffy going to Zoro and kind of being like all mad about it because Luffy being fed and all this was nice for him, but this moment, I mean, yeah, and I understand that like I mean, I can understand Luffy being angry, but the part I don't understand, it's just Luffy going straight into kill mode. Like when he was fighting Zoro, he was being serious about like killing him, which is kind of wild, going from 0 to 100 like that. It just felt it was an extremely weird out of character moment that I didn't like, because I can understand Luffy's trust in Zoro being kind of like not. I mean, it was actually no. It's still pretty strong even at that point, but just the thing like he wouldn't question Zoro, like he wouldn't like ask Zoro about it. Didn't really let Zoro like a chance to explain things, and just didn't even bother like listening before like cool. I just didn't believe that Luffy would take a stranger's word more than Zoro's, unless he'd like proven to be oh, feeding Luffy isn't really enough. Either way, it didn't quite convince me that the fight should be like legit or something. Let alone one to the death. That was kind of wild. Zoro was in the right. Anyways, yeah, we get that. Miss Wednesday's revealed to be Vivi. Oh yeah, the introduction of Igaram. I forgot about him. Yeah, Igaram. That was. Igaram's a very good character. I really like Igaram. Yeah, they like. Though I did find it funny how like Luffy and Zoro was like disregarding the Booker dude, and I think it was Mr. Five, and the key the change weight. I need a better name for her. I'm gonna call her Umbrella Lady, Mr. Five and Umbrella Lady. Yes, that is my name for them. But yeah, they're disregarding their fight and still bodying them while they're at it, even if it wasn't completely intentional. But yeah, thankfully, Nami snaps them back to reality. And what else we get? We get oh yeah, at the end of the arc, they were trying to get back on the ship, and Igaram departs or something to see them back in Alabasta. And next thing we know, you get a massive explosion. Everyone's shocked. Like, oh my god, I forgot about Vivi revealing, like, Crocodile being the head honcho of it all. The way that was done was very funny, I won't even lie. Yeah, there were just, like, little moments like that. It was a pretty good... Oh, and Miss All Sunday. Miss All Sunday is very badass. Yes, we like Miss All Sunday in this household. I will give this arc a C tier. Actually, does it deserve it? I don't know. Actually, that's the only genuinely bad moment in my opinion. But yes, I will keep it down there. Little Garden, that was a good arc as well. We got the Giants. I think they're Dogi and Brogi. I forgot their names. Yeah, Lorraine. I love the prehistoric setting. I'll say that first and foremost. It was cool exploring the island, seeing like how dinosaurs still exist. I love how this was kind of like an indicator of how the environments can be like different based off each island. And yeah, we get to learn about how the giants have been fighting for like 100 years. Their lifespans are much longer than humans. Usopp being super inspired with them was great. We also get Luffy kind of messing around with them. They eventually start trusting them. And then we get Mr. 3's introduction. Now, Mr. 3, I was kind of like, whatever towards. Mr. 3 is just kind of like a wax dude. That's all I know. Mr. 5 and the Umbrella Lady followed them here as well. We get to see the return of them. Sanji goes off on his own misadventures. Oh, I forgot. Zoro and Sanji had the competition. I am getting back to the details, aren't I? Yeah, the fight at the end with like the wax candle tree thing. Say what you will, that was mildly entertaining. It wasn't like my favorite. It was one of the weaker fights in my opinion. And I know people complain that like they probably shouldn't have that much trouble fighting a wax dude, but Luffy is stupid, so what did you expect? Usopp trying to come in and save the day was great. Yeah. Oh, I remember. Frick. I think it was Broggy that was the one in the wax. That scene where Usopp was like inspired, like trying to hype up Bragi when he lost the will to fight was great. So was Zoro cutting off his legs to just fight, because he will fight with his hands tied behind his back and his legs cut off, apparently. He almost got it cut off, but eventually that got taken care of. Yeah, that was... Man, I'm... My mind is already on brain fart mode, bruh. I'ma just put this in B tier. Yeah. Yeah, I ain't even gonna argue it. You know what? Yes. Okay. Drum Island, I have a soft spot for this arc. So I hope I don't get lost in the details for this one. This is a stupid stream. Drum Island is great. Well, yeah, it's great. It's great. I'm trying to think about where to start. Oh yeah, Nami got sick at the end of the arc. That's why they went here. Yeah, they go here. We learn about the world. I love the snow village. I love snowy places. I'm a sucker for them. So seeing that was cool. Chopper's introduction was great as well. We get Cookie Usopp from being slapped so much by being in the snow. We learn damn. They got some pretty underrated minor characters like Dalton and Dr. Kureha. Wobble was cool. Actually, no, he wasn't. Wobble was probably the first example of a villain who served his purpose very well, and that's about it. He was basically designed to be as hateable as possible, and he definitely did a good job with that. I will say that much. Okay. Chopper's backstory. Holy, that hit. Chopper's backstory made me cry. It made me cry even harder when the anime, especially because of the soundtrack, and also like the changes to Hero Luck's character that kind of made him more likable. That was great. You know what I need to do? I need to watch those like episodes of whatever they're called. It's like episode of East Blue, episode of Drum Island, episode of etc. I feel like that'd be a good way to refresh my memory. But yeah, okay, what else happened here? You can see like Dalton's change in the past coming from Hero Luck's death. Hero Luck's speech, by the way, that hit. People die when they've forgotten. That is a recurring through line throughout the story. Oh, I forgot a crucial moment for Luffy. The scene near the beginning where this is going by. The scene near the beginning where what's it called, when they first arrive, and like the villagers are like distrusting. Luffy's like, "I'll take you on." Vivi told him to shut the fuck up and pay some respect, because this is not a fight you should be fighting. I love that moment. Like Luffy, people don't listen, bro. This was a crucial moment for Luffy as a leader, to like pick your battles. This is not one of them. That was a great moment. Luffy does like conform because he respects Vivi as a person. So Luffy like bows and apologizes, which is great. We get him climbing up the mountain to save. Oh yeah, I forgot. Sanji and Luffy are running up the mountain. They are taking care of the bunnies. Sanji, we get a little self-sacrifice moment with Sanji, kind of just throwing his life away for others. It's a little moment like that kind of tells stuff about Sanji's character. Yeah, and then Sanji eventually gets knocked out. Nami's still passed out. like Luffy having those moments where to remember like not to fight because one, it's not worth it, and two, you can make Nami in a worse condition. That was great. Once again, reinforcing what VP said at the beginning of the arc, and he does get a chance to get away from the bunnies. Actually, he actually befriends them, befriends a couple of them, and that comes back to help him to reward him later when Wapol finds him as before climbing up the mountain, and the bunnies save him to buy him time to leave. And so Luffy climbs up the mountain. That was a very good scene, especially in the anime. The anime did this arc justice, for the most part. And so they help They meet Dr. Greyhound. We meet Chopper as well. Chopper's very adorable. Being Lunch Bean is great, apparently. And so Sanji and Luffy just keep chasing him around. Well, now we need to ask you the actual questions about Chopper. Yeah, this was a very good arc. Holy shit. Like, the more I'm thinking about... Oh my god. I really want to rate these higher, but the other arcs are going to be even better. That's the part that is tripping me up. Man. I did not think I was this tired. What else am I missing? I forget. Wow. Next time I'm doing this, I'm having the manga in front of me because, damn, I'm terrible at recalling this stuff. Let me just put this. Wait, the end of the arc. What's it called? So the final battle was pretty well paced. We get to see like Chopper using the human fruit to like. Well, I mean, he's technically always in the form, but using the human fruit, get to see like how it works and how he's mastered it. Well, he doesn't completely master it, but he's like, doing a good job. Yeah, seeing him get a 10-star was great. Luffy takes out the big bad. We get the scene on top of the castle where Luffy's holding the flag, telling Wapol he doesn't know what it means to be a pirate. That moment was epic. It was incredible. And yeah, that fight was good. And so we get the end of the arc. Chopper doesn't want to go, but there was a moment in the castle where Chopper was confused that Luffy's a rubber man, and seeing like how Sanji talks about Luffy, that he's our monster in like a positive light, the way that Chopper was never described as, was such a great moment. And then of course at the scene near the end where Chopper eventually gets on the crew, Luffy tells him to shut up, let's go. That was very good. I felt for Chopper, bruh. And then at the very end, where we see Helix's dream come true, how making the cherry blossoms bloom on a snow island. Correct, filling the dream. And that moment was also very emotional. Yeah, the emotions were great on this arc. Holy. I will rank it right here, just below Arlong Park. I would consider putting it above, but yeah, I would consider putting it above it, but at the same time, I gotta think about things through because Arlong was a better villain in general. Like, Waffle served his purpose, but yeah, Alabasta. Need I say more? Need I say more? There's actually going to be a bunch of arcs in that. Sorry, guys. I might have to make a tier above it, just in case. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do that real quick. Let me just... Wait, at or above? Yeah, let me just S plus. That's not for Alabasta. It's just I'm saving that for certain arcs, but Alabasta is not one of them. Anywho, Alabasta is awesome. All these people coming together. Like all these things coming to, like all together. We get the first of all we get to see Alabasta, which was a great, just like a great it's a great country. I wouldn't live there because it's too hot, but yeah, we just get so much happening in this arc. It's so good. I wish I could talk about it, but I don't want to take 10 hours ranking these. Um, yeah, we get what's it called? Frick, I'm forgetting. No, no. We get to see Crocodile's rule over everything. We get to see the scene where we get to see the scene, and we get to see like how they walked Ace's introduction. I forgot about that. Mentioned about Blackbeard. There's a lot that happened. Wow. I don't even frick. Maybe I just skip it all together and just go to Jaya, because I don't think I can even talk about Alabasta without being overwhelmed. Man, it's such a good arc though. The one thing I didn't like, I will say this, the one thing I didn't like was, well, one, I gotta mention that, first off, I understand, like, there was, like, a bunch of fake out deaths in this arc. I know Oda doesn't like killing characters because he saved it for the ones that are gonna hit really hard. But, Pell should have died. Pell should have died. That's the one thing I did not like. But it's not a deal breaker. I'm still keeping it in S because everything culminated really well. It was just it was a very good swell of things, you know, kind of like it's kind of like how the previous arcs were a crescendo, and then you just get the culmination of it in Alabasta. That's how it was. Very good arc, yes. Jaya. I love Jaya. It is so good. You set up, basically just setting up the core themes of One Piece with this one. First off, we start with we start with the little. I know there's like the big guards, the ship falling on them. We get to meet the monkeys that go to Jaya. Nico Robin. I forgot about Nico Robin. Frick. I must talk about Nico Robin. She joined the crew. They were all fishy about her, but one by one, she gets them all signed up except for Zoro. Zoro's kind of the most iffy on her. But yeah, she joins the crew. They go to Jaya. They all go their separate ways, mostly. We get the bar scene with Bellamy. Bellamy is a very good example of reasons to get your ass kicked, but yeah, they make fun of Luffy and stuff. I forget why, but the bar fight was very good. I love how Nami initially told them not to fight with them, like not to cause like a ruckus, and then after like seeing Luffy getting beaten senseless, Nami's like, kill him, but Luffy and Zoro are like, nah, we are better than them, and decided to say absolutely nothing and do not even counteract them. Respect. Nami eventually drags them out of the bar. Oh wait, before that we meet Blackbeard. That was just a good interaction. Holy. They don't believe, but well, the people at the bar didn't believe Sky Island, and yeah, they didn't believe Sky Island was real, so they started laughing at them. They stand strong. We do meet Blackbeard eventually while they're eating, and like, this tastes awful, this tastes delicious. That was kind of funny seeing them argue. Blackbeard eventually leaves, I believe. Then that's when the bar stuff happens. Luffy leaves. We get the scene. We get the iconic Blackbeard speech. People's dreams don't ever end. That was a great moment. That was a great moment, bro. At the time, no one even knew about their updated bounty either, which made it even better. But they do learn eventually. But you also meet Cricket and his I think it's like 2 helpers. Yeah, Cricket is great. Being the son of Nolan, as well. Like people consider his ancestor as Nolan the liar, but Cricket doesn't care. He will keep searching. And yeah, there's seemingly people that actually believe about the Skyline and want to go there, and they're willing to help, and he's willing to help, which is great. The Going Merry wasn't in the best condition, but they spruced it up to be able to handle flying to Skypiea. So they look for the Southbird. The Southbird I struggled to find. They eventually find it, but while they were gone, Bellamy goes to Cricket and like starts beating them senseless. We learn about the spring fruit, the one that bounces them around. That was, man, my throat's getting dry from talking. Let me take another sip of water. Bellamy beating Cricket senseless, and Luffy finds out and he realizes what happened. So Luffy runs back to Jaya while they're still setting up. They have to leave before sunrise to catch the water spout, or else we're not gonna make it to Skypiea. But Luffy said, "I'm gonna make it back, bro. Trust." Luffy heads back to Jaya eventually. And then we have probably what I consider my favorite, one of my favorite Luffy fight up to this point, which is saying actually no, second favorite. But we get the most satisfying punch in this series up to this point with Luffy versus Bellamy. Because Luffy wasn't gonna fight them, but because they beat up Cricket, that's how you know shit gets serious. Yeah, that was a fantastic moment. And then they learn about the bounty thing. Actually, no, someone found out before, when Luffy was coming back, and they couldn't believe it at first. But Luffy got beaten senseless. But Luffy beat a Cricket senseless, and yeah, what's it called? What even happened? Yeah, they run away. Blackbeard finds out about the bounty, and Zora's bounty, which was 60 million. And so they start going after them, and Luffy eventually makes it back. They head south. Blackbeard's trying to bro, Blackbeard's raft is so good. It's so funny to me. Like, how you're not gonna survive those waters if bruh. Anywho, Blackbeard having 4 members is pretty raw. Also, Blackbeard just being, man, like that moment really, the speech itself really solidified that he was gonna be the final villain to me, because he's literally just the other side of the same coin as Luffy. Because they both value dreams, but the means they take to achieve it are completely different. While Blackbeard's is more selfish. He just uses people. He takes cheap opportunities. Luffy will take a more noble route in getting there, and that's for being a pirate. Yeah. Anywho, Luffy and the gang, they make it to the water spout. Blackbeard couldn't really get them on time, and they eventually blast off into Skypiea and actually make it up. Yeah, that's the end of Jaya. That is a very solid A tier. I will put it. I think I'll put it right below Arlong. Yeah, that's a good place for it. Oh boy, Skypiea. I need to take a sip again. Skypiea. I want to reread Skypiea. Is that enough to say how much I like this arc? Please tell me it is. Please tell me that's enough. Because, oh my gosh, this arc is so... Oh my... I'm going to be saying this about every arc. But this arc is awesome. This setting is so cool. You get a Sky Island. We learn about the dials. We meet Canis. Nami just zooming around on the freaking thingy. We learned about like their do we even call it a religion? Because actually, I guess it is more so idolatry, but yeah, they're basically worshiping Enel. And what else happened? Frick. I can't even go. I mean, there's so many things I want to go over when it comes to Skypiea. But it's a very good arc. I don't care what people say. In the anime, well, I can't say too much about the anime. I guess like Skypiea is long. I will say that. Even in the manga, it's long. But in general, I think it's still pretty well paced. There was like maybe like one part that felt a little sluggish, but other than that, it was a pretty well paced arc, and I'm just gonna be skipping around. Oh yeah, Robin going off to like search for the Pong was an interesting side plot. We learned about like the maps thing, and there was also oh yeah, the magic circles as well. Yeah, it was a very funny arc as well. I will say that. You get lots of foreshadowing as well, which really solidifies how important Skypiea actually is in terms of the grander story. Ace's great search for Blackbeard as a cover story. I think that was this arc, but yeah, that was good. I mean, that was really good. What else? What else? Crap. I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting. Enel is great. The 4 minions or elders or whatever, they're kind of like whatever. Yeah, the fights were good though. I will say that. I did like them overall. I'm skipping to the Nolan flashback. Yeah, the Nolan flashback was amazing. That was great. It was very emotionally moving. I just thought it was like it's crucial that it was like okay. Trying to think about it. This was in the middle of Luffy versus Enel, and to have a flashback happen there, it better be important, and it sure is important. We learn about why Nolan is considered a liar, because like the Sky Island, Hill don't believe him, because Sky Island is hard to imagine. Wow, I might as well just go to sleep. I don't want to cut the stream early, so I'm not gonna do that. I'll probably take a break somewhere. I think we'll take a break. I'm gonna take after a long rain, long lay. I'm gonna take a quick break because holy fuck, I'm tired. Oh. But yeah, what else happened? The Nolan flashback was great. The friendship was awesome. The dude, I forgot his name. Anything else? I think that is about... No. I miss. Oh yeah, when well, first off, the fight between like it was like Robin, Zoro, and like two of the. Oh, Wiper! How did I forget Wiper? He is such a good character. Him being like the tie-in between like the past and present is so good, and his bro Wiper is him. He oh my gosh, this dude took millions of volts of lightning and was still standing after each one. What a legend. Also, Enel restarting his heart, absolutely raw. And so is, what's it called? Actually, no. No, that's not raw, but Chopper's fight was, oh yeah, Chopper's fight was really good as well. Um, yeah. What else am I forgetting? Actually, I'm forgetting a lot, but forget about that. Yeah, Luffy versus NL, great. Two of the best faces in the series. With Luffy's facing out and the NL face, you know what I'm talking about if you're a One Piece fan. Um, yeah, the other fight was great, and so was ringing the bell. Ringing the bell. Oh my gosh, that was such a good moment. Oh, frick, that moment gave me chills reading it in the manga, and like seeing how Cricket was like freaking was getting so emotional given how like he like part of him gave up hope that it wasn't going that the Sky Island wasn't real. And then Luffy seeing Luffy's shadow in the air and like hearing the bell ring, that was such a good moment. Wow. Oh my gosh. The way Sky Pia concluded was absolutely incredible. I will say that. But yeah, over man, so much I really want to reread this arc. Even just thinking about it, this is the arc I want to reread the most out of everything I've read so far. But yeah, I'm giving that an easy S tier. I would. I I've been debating which one to put over, but I don't really have any major gripes as I do with Alabasta. Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm putting it above Alabasta. Yeah, okay. Long Read Long Land. Um, Long Read Long Land gets a lot of shit for being basically a filler arc. And in the anime, well, in the anime, I can't. I've heard that the anime took things very differently and made it a lot more dislikable compared to the manga. So I will not say my opinion on the anime as I have not seen it. I, but I will say for the manga, we do get first off the Foxy Pirates. I love how we get to see another form of pirate of like what being a pirate is, with Foxy doing the like basically trading pirates at will. It was this arc was just like a great calm before the storm moment. First off, being in between the highs of Skypiea and the tears of Water 7 is great. I love how I love how Chopper being taken away like for like Jokesies only for them to be taken back. It's kind of like a precursor of what's gonna happen in the next arc in a much more serious manner. We got the 3 rounds. The first round was really fun, where they went around Long Rain Long Land and like the treasure chest, and Usopp and Nami using like the dials to push them forward. It was great. Only the friendly they get cheapened out, which kind of sucked for them, but yeah. This arc was just like a really fun breather between the two arcs, and what else happened here? Uh, Crap, I'm forgetting. Foxy is alright. I like him. He is a goofy pirate, and that's what I kind of enjoy. Um, his fight with round 2 with Sanji and Zoro was so funny. Oh my gosh, seeing them being forced to work together was absolutely ridiculous. Literally, the only reason why they were losing was because they didn't work together and they were just fighting each other. And the few seconds they took to lock in when when they got the goal was absolute like peak comedy right there. And then what else? Round 3, the Davy back fight between Foxy and Luffy. That was great. I mean, that was a really good fight. Also, Afro Luffy is the best Luffy. Afro Luffy is the best Luffy. I will say that one more time. Afro Luffy is the best Luffy. Yes, Luffy in an afro. Usopp, like being his hype man, made it so much better too. Holy shit, that was so good. Like Usopp just being a boxing hype man is perfect for him. And there's them believing in the power of the afro. Oh my gosh, I was laughing my ass off. That was so funny. Whew. That was great. But yeah, the Davy Back fight was great. Like seeing them fight each other, it's like you see it as like a normal quarrel, and then Luffy starts losing. Like they keep fighting, and then like Luffy starts getting knocked, and then it starts to get to a point where Luffy starts getting knocked down, and then he gets back up, and then he gets knocked down again. He takes longer. He gets back up. He gets knocked down a third time. He gets knocked down for a while. He gets back up, more bloodied and bruised than the last. I love that part in particular because, like, people consider Long Run that's like a borderline filler arc because of like how different it is from like the tone and like how detached it is from everything else. But there are serious moments, and this was one of them, because despite like how this was like a David Bat fight, he could, like given how like the rules were set up in the thing, Luffy could very well die here, and they made that clear. So like seeing him being able to push through all of it and manage to win, like using a shard in Afro to like there was like early in the fight he got like smacked like a window or something, and a shard from the glass fell through his afro, and eventually he was able to realize that, and he used that to reflect the slow beam. Oh yeah, Foxy has a slow fruit. Yeah, he used that to reflect it and like slow Foxy down. And that moment where Luffy just starts like punching the shit out of him, and we just hear like just him counting down, and just him yelling 0 as Foxy just gets sent flying out of bounds was so satisfying. But yeah, that was a very good fight. I really liked it in the manga. And then of course, oh my gosh, I almost forgot the side plot with the elder dude. He was trying to get to a different part of the island because the way the thing works is that like I forget, it was something that prevented him from getting like to the part where his ancestors are at, and where his family and like community is at. But because Aokiji showed up like at the very end of the box after the Fox Fighters left, out of nowhere we get to see his Choto fruit. He freezes the entire ocean for like a week. Well, that portion of the ocean for like a solid week, which is very intimidating. Looking at this, being in the Straw Hat Pirates, seeing the first of a Navy admiral. Yeah, that was a lot, but W Admiral, it says I'll kill you. And he says, I'll kill you now. And he just absolutely bodies the Straw Hats. Luffy decides to take him on a 1v1 despite that. What a bold guy, though. That was very funny. Well, it was funny that he decided to go for it, but oh my gosh, I forgot Nico Robin. I forgot about Robin's Robin's reaction was like seeing Aokiji was terrifying. Because you knew something was wrong. And the Straw Hats were like, I mean, they might have been like a little tense, but they knew, but because it was an admiral, and an admiral that early in their journey is pretty dangerous. But seeing like how they immediately got like more defensive after seeing Robin's terrified look, and it was like genuine terror, like fear as well. That's how like they were like said, you know what, we're gonna throw. What did you do? Basically, they consider Robin as a friend, clearly. Anyways, yeah, Aokiji bodies them. They have to retreat. Luffy holds them off, but Luffy ends up losing the fight, of course, but he doesn't get killed because um, and Aokiji's words, he took down Crocodile, which is true. So they're even, and so he heads to the next island, which is Water 7. I will talk about Water 7 in a little bit, but for now, anyways, we're ranking Long Land. A very fun arc. I would probably give this a low. Do you want to give it C tier? I don't know. I actually don't. There were more things I liked about it than I didn't like. So, well, I said it was here village. I will give it. You know what? I'll give it the bottom of B tier. Yeah, that's fitting. All right. Because I am because like my voice is all over the place. I already suck at talking, and I don't want to bore everyone at the moment, and I want to be able to gather my thoughts. I instead will take a break, probably for like a few minutes. Let me do that real quick. Alright. Can anyone hear me alright? Okay, I gathered notes for at least for Water 7 and Annie's lobby. Cause there is so much to talk about here, but I gotta keep things concise for the sake of the stream and my own sanity. Alright, so Water 7. First off, let me just get this out of the way. Yeah, okay, so first off we gotta talk about the going Mary, because it was kind of the leading conflict, because it's in shambles. And so they come here, and they come to Water 7 thinking that they can find a shipwright, and they meet Iceberg, and what's it called? And eventually, like, the crew that he like, that like team that do the team and stuff. The world is great. First of all, one of my favorite settings that we've been to, and probably my second. If it wasn't for Skypiea, this would be. Oh my gosh, I'm burping a lot. If it wasn't for Skypiea, this would be my favorite setting. But yeah, we learned that the going Mary cannot be like, you know, it's too far gone. But yeah, Usopp is not taking that well. But yeah, they're trying to get their goal. They're trying to get their goal exchanged, and thanks to Nami, they were able to get like an actual good value for like 200 million. But Frankie's crew ends up destroying it. Well, first off, Frankie's crew ends up taking it from Usopp, and Usopp, we get fined that she's like. Usopp tries to like defend it and stuff, but that did not go well, and we get a moment that is not talked about. We get a certain moment that like doesn't get talked about enough for its emotions, because this arc as a whole is already emotional enough, and then we get this and we get this moment that's one of the less talked about moments that gets me pretty emotional, was when Nami finds Usopp beaten up senseless on the like on the ground. Like, this is, and the way he gets beat up, like this is serious. It's not like most other times, like for example when Usopp and Luffy were imitating Zoro and Sanji on the boat in like Skypiea. This is different. This is serious. So like Nami finds Usopp, and Usopp's just like, he just feels horrible at himself that he wasn't able to protect the money, and Nami tells him that he wasn't Nami tells him not to worry about the money, which is huge coming from Nami. You would never expect that to come out of Nami's mouth, of all people. And the part that hurts the most is the biggest concern on Usopp's mind is not because like he got beaten senseless. It's not because of the pain that he's feeling. Not even because like that the money got taken away, which I mean that is part of the reason, but it's because he can't face the others for failing to defend the money, and that hurts so much. Oh my gosh, it's just like feeling like you failed like a good friend of yours. That's how it hurts so much. Yeah. We also need to talk about the argument that Usopp and Luffy have on the ship. That was such a that moment, you can, the way the lighting and stuff was, and like how the tension was built, it felt so real, like the argument, because I mean, of course you can't, like you wouldn't expect to, I'm not saying that it's like you would have an argument about like a boat or something, but you can have like a similar type of argument with someone, I'm sure. and that moment was done so well. I felt it while reading those words that like there's definitely like a misunderstanding. What's it called? The thing about misunderstandings in general is that if they're done poorly, they are done like it is obvious how bad it is. But this is just like so well realized because like Usopp's kind of projecting here that he doesn't want that like he feels like he's not been very useful to the crew, which he is. He has on multiple occasions, but in this moment here, like seeing how Luffy said that it's time for the Going Merry to like rest, given how he was like told that it's too far gone, it's lived as far as it could. This arc did so much for Usopp and Luffy. I I wish I was better at gushing about stuff because I could keep talking about this moment for ages. But yeah, I did so much for Usopp, did so much for Luffy as a captain. You just feel the burden, like the burden that because earlier on, Iceberg kind of bashes Luffy for being irresponsible about endangering them on the ship when Luffy, because Luffy wanted to keep sailing on the Going Merry as well, but like Iceberg like tells him that he's like a terrible captain for endangering the lives of his crewmates, and when Luffy decides like, yeah, I mean, you're right, I shouldn't be doing this to them. We should just find a different ship and keep going. It's much as horrible as terrible as it is for him to say goodbye to the Mary. And then we have Usopp yelling at him for the opposite reason, for abandoning this, for like saying that he abandoned the ship, and that he'll probably do the same for other members if they don't find their use and whatnot. It's a terrible burden to have as a leader. And having Zoro being there during their fight, like, I'm pretty sure Zoro was the only one that actually like saw it through from beginning to end, while the rest of them, it was like very hard to watch. But yeah, man, that fight, I'm just thinking about it now. I think that's still my favorite fight in the series, in terms of like a one-on-one. It is still my favorite fight. Not because I was rooting for either side, because it felt wrong too, because it was so emotional. Oh my gosh, this is Water 7 is tier 7. That's what. Yeah, it's a very well done arc in general. But outside of that, the minor characters are also really good. Polly and Kokoro in particular. I love those two in particular. And of course the introduction of Frankie. Frankie is awesome. He was a bit of an ass to Luffy at first, but things eventually changed once they found a common enemy being CP9. Yeah, we learn about Aqua Laguna coming up. We learn about Nico Robin leaving the crew as well, because he left before Usopp did. And yeah, it's just like you can tell like Robin didn't want to leave as well, but as you said, there's a like she. There was a. How do you describe it? She said there's a monster inside of her that will take them if they stay together or something. Either way, she says she can't continue their dream. Like, she has to leave them to achieve her dream, which we later learn. Well, we later learn that it's not necessarily a dream. It's more so giving herself up to save the Straw Hats, and they don't understand that at first either. I mean, they don't understand that at first either. This is the problem with One Piece because the arcs are so good. It's so hard to stay like more broad. The I'm gonna just talk about Aqua Laguna real quick. Yeah, that didn't help things either. Yeah, they're gonna die. Luffy's stuck in a building stuck in two buildings for some reason. Silver's in the chimney. Nami has to be the one to tell them the news. That was a very emotional scene as well. To tell them to get their asses up and save Robin, and which is basically their next focus. Yeah, they eventually get out, and the sea train. That was a very good section of the story as well. Yeah, Water 7 is amazing, and it was basically literally just a perfect setup for Ennie's lobby. The reason it's the reason why Ennie's lobby works so well. Where is Ennie's lobby? Over here. Ennie's lobby is just full of payoff. It is just full of payoffs from Water 7. The pacing is great. We get the gear. We also, what's it called? Luffy awakens Gear 2 during Blueno, showing the true power scaling between then that like Luffy's like it was during like I said during his fight with Aokiji, he learned that like he needs to be stronger so that nobody goes away, which great foreshadowing by the way. But also Gear 2, yes, like you can definitely tell this was a like even though it looked like last minute, it was a the way it was done, it was easy to tell that like it was set up in a way where you can definitely tell that Luffy found time to do it off screen. And that's what I love about Gear 2. And of course it was very hype just seeing him kick the crap out of Blueno. I forgot about Frankie's backstory in Water 7. My apologies. That was a very good moment. That was an underrated backstory. I will say that. Spandam's a bit. We finally learn about Robin's backstory and why she has an 80 million bounty on her head. And I'm saying that's probably the best backstory at this point in the story. Oh my gosh, her backstory was so hard to read. Saul, the Buster called on O'Hara, and that she's like the last one there that can read the Poneglyphs. The Poneglyphs. I think the Poneglyphs. We learn about Kuzan, aka Aokiji. That's his first name. Yeah, so much happened. Oh yeah, and also Saul telling Robin that she'll find friends one day that will stick by her no matter what was so like moving, and that she finally did. But because of like what she's heard throughout her entire life, she almost gave that up. But thankfully she was able to, like, thanks to like Luffy and them, and she was able to like open her eyes and kind of see that she has people now, and that she has like despite the lack of a family before, she has one now, and that she shouldn't give that up. And so Luffy tells Robin that, despite that, it still wasn't enough. And so Luffy tells, Sniper King now, because one thing I forgot to mention, Usopp became Sniper King to help them, because because Robin's kind of like a mutual ally, and two, because he loves the Straw Hats despite everything, but he doesn't have the courage to face them, and also he needs the mask for bravery and all. Yeah, that was great, but not Luffy telling Usopp to shoot down that flag. That is a line delivery I will never forget. And yes, I also watched this moment in the anime, which was great. Shoot down that flag, and the fact that I think what made it even better was that he did it immediately. Like Usopp didn't even hesitate; he did it immediately. And so just to share that they were willing to have that burden of being a terror, I mean, being like enemies of the world government in particular, that was finally the tipping point that told Robin that she wanted to live. That made Robin say she wanted to live, and that it didn't matter to them. That it was just great all around. And of course, we got all the amazing fights that happened during Annie's lobby that I'm not going to go over. The only one I will talk about is, I mean, the only things I will talk about are the Usopp snipe from 2 kilometers away when Robin was so close to getting past the gates. Actually, no, did he go in the gates? No, they did, I think. I forget. But she was very close. Usopp saves the day at like the last moment. Kind of going back to Sanji during Zoro's fight or something. When Sanji told him to do what you're best at, basically. Which, yes, Usopp, snipe them down. They couldn't even shoot back because it was too far away, which was awesome. Yeah, what a legend, and I will not forget that moment. Man, and of course, the most emotionally charged moment. I mean, not moment. Fight in the series is Luffy versus Lucci. That match was really damn good in the manga. I loved it beginning to end. Getting to see Luffy using both of his gears to try and take down Lucci, but even it took him to his absolute limit. And the only reason why he got out was because of Usopp trying to, like, I think Luffy was the only person that didn't really know that Usopp was Sniper King, which is, one, is very comical, but two, it kind of really puts into perspective that he was just dead on, like, pretty much dead on the ground. He opens his eyes, probably seeing like a blurry version of Usopp, basically telling him to get up, or we're all gonna die. And I love how Usopp does it in a way where he's basically trying to get Luffy to fight him, giving greater urge for Luffy to win. Yeah, that was an amazing moment. And of course, we get the final punches at the very end. That was very emotionally charged. And one thing I forgot to mention in Water 7 was and Skypiea by extension was the Going Merry, back in Skypiea, Usopp saw like a mysterious figure fixing the Going Merry. In Water 7, it was revealed by Iceberg that the ship's spirit, the spirit of the ship gets revealed in like a physical form to owners that treat their ship well, or care about their ship. And Usopp got that chance to see it. And so seeing it fix itself to head back to Eddie's lobby, that hurt a lot. It decided to go all the way back to Eddie's lobby despite being long past its limits, just because it loved its crewmates. And so all the Straw Hats jumping down onto the Going Merry during Eddie's lobby was not only was it hilarious that the ship managed to get past all those Navy fleets, but they're seeing them just all just jump down into the ocean like they were idiots at first to an outsider, only to reveal the Going Merry made it this entire time. And then they managed to escape. And that's pretty much no, it's not the conclusion. The conclusion comes right after, because the Going Merry just started to break because it can't take it anymore. And so Luffy's like, "Yeah, you need to rest up. You need to take a rest. You have lived a good life, Going Merry," which came all the way from Spirit Village. And Oda decides to be a bastard because during this ship, while the ship is burning, and the Straws get off the ship because, of course, you're all separate boats. As the ship is burning, we get to see memories of of their time on the Going Merry, all the way back from Sierra Village, all the way up to Water 7. and that hurt. I'm still not okay after seeing that. And the anime only made it worse because the song they picked for that scene is very emotional, including the lyrics. And then we hear the ship speak to Luffy one last time. Yeah, I cried over a boat. What are you gonna do? Cry about it? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I would, I could put this in S plus tier, but I mean, Water 7 and Enies Lobbies are kind of like a pair. Like, they go hand in hand, in a sense. Yeah, I will leave it like that. By the way, this is ordered. So, like, this would be, like, the bottom of the list. This would be, like, the top of the section. Yeah, out of respect, I will put it there. Actually, no. Wait. Do I want to? Crap. I don't know if I should. I'll put it at the top of S tier. I'll do that. The reason why I like Water 7 more than Enies Lobby, and this is like a very slight difference. A very slight there's like a very slight gap between the two. And that's simply because Enies Lobby only works because of how well Water 7 set up everything. Like, these two are a pair, though, by the way. These two are a pair, though. They go hand in hand. They might as well just be one arc. And in a sense, they are. But the way this tier list puts them, they put them as separate. And I think Water 7 is just the slightly better half. Mainly because there's a lot more story elements compared to Enies Lobby, where it's more so payoff than anything else. And the payoff is great, don't get me wrong, but I it's just more so a preference. Yeah. Anyways, that's where I put Enies Lobby. Now, post Enies Lobby is basically just, I don't even know why this is like separate from Enies Lobby. Might as well just be its own anyway. But there's so much that happens here. Garp gets introduced. You learn that he's his grandson, Luffy's grandson. What else happened? The new bounties were great, especially Sanji's. It's because I decided to take a picture of someone else, which is great. He just looks like Sanji, so she didn't get pissed off. Chopper got robbed, getting only 50 berries. No one's hunting Chopper down. And Luffy with 300 million. Awesome. Kobe returns in Helmeppo. They learned the shave technique technique like CP9 does, which is awesome. We also learn. Oh yeah, we learned about what else did we learn about? We learned about the new world during Post Enies Lobby. We learned about a lot of things during Post Enies Lobby. I'll say that much, and it was pretty well done. Frankie gets recruited. Usopp's apology at the end was awesome. I'm glad the Zoro speech on like respect for like a captain is great. That's why he's Luffy's right hand man. Absolute goat. The apology was great. Zoro's speech. Garp. And then of course Ace versus Blackbeard. I forgot it happened during this time. That was a great culmination of things. And of course, Blackbeard ended up winning against Ace. And next thing you know, he gets sent to Impel Down. I think we learned that in Sabaody, but I'm just gonna talk. I just wanted to mention it here. But yeah, Post Enies Lobby is very good. It does a lot for the story, and A lot of setup. That's pretty much what Post Sunny's lobby is. Um, this is gonna be weird to rank because although it is like a part of this, I'm gonna just put it like right here. Well, do we consider it S tier? I mean, there isn't anything I disliked about it, so I'll put it there. Yeah, all right. Thriller Bark is gonna be an interesting one. Oh man. Okay. Uh, so this I know this is a very infamous arc. For being one of the weakest ones, and let me just get my thoughts together before I say where I'll put this, because this is an interesting one to talk about. Okay, so the setting, I love the the more Halloween gothic feel Thriller Bark has compared to everything else. The way it's on a giant ship is really cool. I'll say that. Okay. Next up, we got Brooks' introduction. I love how he's technically immediately recruited onto the crew, but obviously he can't necessarily go with them past Thriller Bark because of the whole shadow thing. But yeah, Brooke is cool. The panties thing is probably gonna get old, but I do look at his bone jokes are chill. We get the introduction of Perona, Gekomoria being a war. For Gekomoria, I like him. I like him quite a bit. I like him more than most people probably. Because what? So okay, first off, he's a warlord. I'll say that much. I love how he had similar ambitions to. No, he had the same ambitions of being the Pirate King, and I'm pretty sure it was his fight with Oh yeah, Kaido was first Wano and Kaido was first mentioned in Thriller Bark, which is kind of insane to me how far this was planned and stuff. But yeah, his fight with Kaido kind of lost. His crew got murdered, so he resorted to I think it's Fruit is the Shadow Fruit or something. But yeah, he decided a zombie crew would be easier. So he resorts to those means, basically using people's shadows to possess their whatchamacallits. I'm getting lost in the sauce right now. Frick. I'm trying to remember where I was at. Gekomoria. Yeah, it's getting lost in the. Frick. Let me start over. Gekomoria is the same admission as Luffy, but he kind of lost that will after Kaido absolutely wrecked his crew back in his 20s or something, and so he resorts to different means by staying on Thriller Bark and creating shadows and using his shadow fruit to steal shadows from people and using them to possess different zombies. So his plan is make a zombie crew and then go he's not ready yet. That's why he hasn't left Thriller Bark. But the fact that he's gonna do that is kind of an interesting way of going about things, because his drive to be the Pirate King through I wouldn't say more noble means, because being a pirate isn't really the most noble thing to do, but oh frick, but more normal means by gathering alive crew members and stuff. Just him using more of a scummy method of doing it is kind of a cool contrast to Luffy once more. And yeah, you can. I remember during the fight, you can see how he doesn't really. Actually, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me think. Actually, that's enough on Gamora for now. I'll come back to Gamora later. Uh, we got Usopp versus Perona because no one else can take on her negativity. Because one of the best moments is I'm already extremely negative. That was such a fantastic reason, but I wasn't expecting it all when it happened, but I was laughing my ass off. I couldn't believe that this is the reason we're going with, but it's so in character for Usopp being the only one be able to take him because he's already so negative about himself that he starts making the ghost negative. Oh my, bro! I will say, if I were to rank Thriller Bark in terms of comedy, this would be S plus tier, because this is easily like top 3 funniest arcs in the entire series so far. I will say that, but I'm not ranking this on comedy. I'm ranking it on like as a whole. But yeah, Usopp versus Piranha was probably my favorite fight in the what's it called, in the arc, like him using just like multiple not scummy but fake out methods to take out Piranha. He basically scared him. No, he basically scared her into passing out. I'm pretty sure she was foaming in the mouth, if I recall correctly. That was so funny to me, bro. But yeah, that moment was great. And then Zoro's fighting that one swordsman that has Brook Shadow. Oh yeah, Brook is a swordsman. That's cool and all. And then we get Brook's backstory with Laboon, which that caught me off guard. I was not prepared for that, but it makes sense because Brook is long past dead. Well, he's alive because of the revive fruit, but he would be dead because his entire crew died on him. I mean, his entire crew is dead, and to think that was the crew that like his crew was the one that helped, that what's it called, that kind of entertained Laboon, that Laboon was like still waiting on, only for them to all die in like what he considered an irresponsible manner, was like so tragic. And then he had to wander across the seas for 50 years alone with the dead bodies of his friends. Talk about lonely. Like that's like I'm not a huge fan of like Sanji like simping and all, but it's easier for me to forgive Brook for being like so into female panties because he hasn't had a human interaction in 50 years, like a genuine human interaction in 50 years because of him, what's it called, being like horny now, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that helped brought some much needed depth to Brook. Yeah, that part hurt kind of, and of course to get Banks's brew, like the song, but I'll come to that later. We also get the fight against Oars, which that fight was really good. It was awesome seeing like this was like the first real time all of the Straw Hats are working together to take down a common enemy. So seeing their teamwork was great, and we got that really funny moment where Frankie does that. Yeah, I forget. It was like I forget what the move was called, but the move where the straws like combine or something, and it tells Robin to get his mouth, and Robin's like, "No, I can't subject myself to this." Oh my god, that was way too funny. That was such a good moment. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but of course they got the plan. The Frankie bridge was great as well. Seeing them freeze the arm was awesome, and of course them trying to break Oars' back to like make him not move was awesome as well. It was a really good fight all in all, and I basically doing all of these things to like to kind of help like wait for Luffy to get like the finishing blow was good and all. I forgot to mention that because Like they're fighting to get their shadows back as well. Because the Gekomori took them at different points in the thing. The minor characters are great too. Well, not really. The minor characters are kind of like probably like one of the weaker aspects, except for Lola. Lola is great. We love Lola. We love Lola, but we do not love Absalom. But I'll get to him in a second. But I'm gonna come back to Absalom. Um, Lola's friendship with Nami was unexpectedly great as well. Yeah, the final fight, Luffy's like trying to get all the shadow. Luffy's like trying to get them to figure out a way to get like the shadow and stuff, because Gekomori also like intervened with the fight with oars, and they fought with using oars. And so Luffy had to like take in like what 1,000 shadows or so. It was something ridiculous to take down Gekomoria, and it ended up working. He ended up surviving that whole thing, and so we get that, and I do like the way the Straw Hats do in this fight, because it's not necessarily because like they were stronger than Gekomori, because they weren't. They were definitely gonna get out, and I'm sure if Gekomori was like fully trying, he would have, but while Gekomori wasn't taking it seriously, of course Luffy started getting hits, and Gekomori like getting hot headed about it I thought was a really good was like, and then like him started like getting impatient and losing it, like consuming all these shadows, but obviously he can't control it like that. So Luffy was able to like beat him easier almost, but I thought it was a good way to end the fight. But of course, at the end of the fight, they're all exhausted. The sun's about to rise. They eventually do get their shadows back, because Gekomori said that they could, and that's the part I didn't understand. One thing I didn't really understand is why, like, instead of Gekomori, like instead of the condition for them getting his shadows back is like Gekomori saying to release the shadows. Like that was a fine condition, but what I don't understand is like, why don't they get their shadow? Like they should have gotten their shadows back if Gekomori were to die, but I guess that kind of raised more tension, because the sun did start to rise, and half of like the Straw Hats' bodies got like burned off or whatever. But they eventually got it back, because Gekomori decided, like Gekomori, like he I forgot, he got like some sympathy for the Straw Hats, because if they're not like strong enough to if they're like taking all this effort to take him down, they know they're not going to be ready for the new world, which he has experienced himself, and so I think he wanted them to experience that for themselves. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting way to end it. And then we get the possibly the best moment in the series from Thriller Bark. Kuma shows up, another warlord, while all the Straw Hats are down and out for the count. And the only they already spent all their energy fighting a warlord, and they have to deal with another one while they're being down. That's how you know they're not ready for like the new world. Yeah, that was terrifying. Gekomori just coming like that or something. But yeah, yeah, that whole interaction was insane. Zoro being the only one to land a hit was awesome. And then we just this moment between like Zoro and Kuma as a whole is why Zoro deserves to be the right hand man of Luffy. Nothing happened with such a good moment. That's absolute chills, bro. I can't believe Zoro did that for him, but highly respect. And then we just get that one panel of Zoro dripping blood, just standing there, and Sanji what happens that Kuma gives Zoro a taste of the pain, which nearly kills him, and he said, in order to like release you from, uh, like to for me to leave you guys alone, you must take all the captain's pain or something from Gecko Warrior's fight. And so Zoro does, but he decides, let's do this somewhere else, and he does, and he takes it. And we cut forward, the Straw Hats celebrating, Luffy feeling lighter. Sanji realizes something's wrong because Zoro's not there, and so he finds Zoro, dripping blood. Nothing happened. That was great. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that moment, it feels so weird that this moment happened in such like a. I'd probably give this like a B. Yeah, I'd probably give it like a B or something, but because of that, it's like it's so good. But anyways, I need to talk about the reason why, like, bro, this was some severe character assassination for Sanji. So let me go back. Let me take you guys back to like the middle of the arc when Sanji was facing Absalom. So if you don't know Absalom, he is the character, or remember him. He was the person that had like the clear, was it clear fruit or something like that? The one that turns you invisible. And early on, when Nami was taking a bath, Absalom came in and started licking Nami. And so like and so as a reader, you're like, okay, that is disgusting. I hope this dude gets like a massive punch in the face by someone. Sanji does learn about the incident, and pretty much every panel that we've seen him, almost every panel that we see him, up to like the Absalom fight, he's basically just like drawn on fire because of how pissed off he is at that happening. And so like, yes, Sanji, get him. And before this moment, like you know, like Sanji being a sim, like that's kind of expected of his character, but it's more so like, but like the way it's been shown so far, it's like in a Brock way, where like he's like he just like really respects women and just like protects them with his life, and it's like that. It adds a character flaw. Well, it's not a character flaw to respect women. That's not the flaw, but to a point where it'll kill him if like a woman were to, like, he can't, like, I don't know. Let me go back. During Enies Lobby, Sanji was the original opponent for Khalifa, but he couldn't defeat her because she's a woman, and his mental rules for like women are like preventing him from taking her down, even though he could. And then we thought it was like that, and we thought he was just going by that code in terms of like respect for women or something like that up to this point. And so we get to Thriller Bark, and when we get to and we learn the reason why Sanji is pissed off, and it's not really what we expected at all. This moment was this is the only moment so far in like the entire series that is genuinely awful, because my god, Sanji fans were eating dirty after this arc. So the reason why like Sanji was so fired up is obviously not just because like Nami was just like, you know, harassed like that, but because we learned now that like the clear fruit was that fruit he would have wanted to eat, and so if he were to have that fruit, he would be able to just like peek in on women or something, and like continue to harass them or whatever, and like basically be just as bad as Absalom in terms of harassment to women. If Zev heard that, you would have gotten an ass whooping of a lifetime. Holy shit, bro, that was so bad. And look, I'm like for characters in general, like you're not like that character trait for someone you want to get like their face punched. I think that's fine because obviously they're meant to be hateable. But for someone you're rooting for, like Sanji, especially in this moment, yeah, I don't think you want that kind of trait. Like it's okay to write a character with flaws, and and if he and like and if he were to have that, and like how do I put this? And if he were to have that kind of trait, and like grow from it, that would be one thing, but he never gets punished for saying this because what I think Nami was still knocked out or something when this happened. He never gets punished for it, and he still and we just see him like win the fight, like which I mean it's to be expected because he's definitely the lesser of two evils if we're talking about him and Absalom. But my gosh, that was bad. That part drags it. That part drags this arc down a ton. And then of course, and yeah, I think yeah, that's like the major thing. And no other arc here. Even Whiskey Peak with the Luffy moment, there's no other arc here that has a moment as atrocious as that. But yeah, that's about it. For Thriller Bark, I will for that moment and overall a weaker selection of minor characters, I will give it it's tough, actually. Let's see. I think it sucks because it has those two moments. No, it has those flaw. It has that flaw, but it also has like some of the best moments in the entire series, which is kind of hard to rate. I am going to put it above Romance Dawn, but it could be a lot. It could have been a lot better. Yeah. Sabaody. This arc is awesome. Very well paced. Oh yeah, this entire saga is just amazingly well paced. I will say that much. I gotta keep it brief between these arcs because, well, maybe besides Amazon Lily because, it's pretty short and it's very short. But everything else, I gotta like watch what I say here because if I go too in depth with these arcs, oh boy. Either way, what Sabaody does well is what's it called? It does a really good job at escalating tension. Cause like the way things start. Oh yeah, first of all, I gotta mention the whole the face thing being resolved was so funny with like Sanji, because we learn how to this dude that's named Duval that just looks like Sanji, and Sanji just kicks his face into something completely different. Yeah, so we start off with something like lighthearted. It does a very good job with tone, and after that we learn about Sabaody. They go there. We see the world, and it looks like very cool. And like Sabaody is a very cool setting. Once again, Oda is the king of world building. I will say that. And but like like the brief bits that we get to see here, of like Carrot, which is the mermaid, and also Hachiko comes back. I think it's Hachi. Yeah, this is Hachiko, the fishman from one of Arlong's men from Arlong Park. Yeah, we get like brief moments of exploring the world and stuff, but we quickly learn about the one issue here is human trafficking is a thing. we learn about the celestial dragons. Charlos is. We learn about Charlos in particular, who is a paratake. Is, oh my gosh, how do you make someone more punchable than Absalom? That is saying a lot, and he does it in a quick manner. Like the way he did it, that was it. Like, props to you, Oda. You're really good at making hateable characters, like in a good way. But yeah, she gets found out because she's a mermaid, and apparently they get sold like really well. And then we get the auction scene, where like the Straw Hat's trying to buy back Carrot, which didn't go well, because the dude has what, Charles, 500 mil or something, and the Celestial Dragons have ties to the world government, so keep that in mind. Luffy does not, like, he was told earlier to not like cause chaos or anything, and knowing Luffy, that ain't gonna last long. And so we get the most satisfying punch in the entire series with Luffy punching Charlos, like a straight clean right to the face. It is very well drawn and very well done in the anime as well. That was intensely satisfying. But of course, that puts them on the map of the world government because their headquarters is very close to Sabaody. And so that's gonna cause problems for later. But I love how Luffy apologizes as well for this, like, because kind of showing the audience that he knows the consequences of what he's doing. We also get Hachiko apologizing to Nami for also Hachiko is just like a great fishman. Let me just mention him for a second. Hachiko getting shot first off by Charlos, and the only thing on his mind is feeling sorry about like causing so much pain and trouble to Nami, which that was a very sad moment. So Luffy punches the dragon, and afterwards he apologizes. Also, we get the introduction of Rayleigh. I will get to him in a second, but yeah. The what's it called? Kid and Law are introduced along with a bunch of other people. Oh, and also the only ones I care to remember right now are Kid, Law, and Bonnie. Bonnie I'll talk about later, but Kid and Law, they were at the auction, and afterwards they were like, they get surrounded by like a bunch of Navy members or something, and Luffy and like they start working together to fight. And Law and Navy have Law and Kid have very cool powers. Law has the room thingy, and Kid with the whole magnet thing. I like Law more than Kid, personally. And then what else? I'm trying to think about what else happened. I think afterwards is where Rayleigh takes them to his place, and like that's like not like access much. But yeah, that conversation was great. Robin, actually no, it was just like several good character moments in that time, but outside of that, you also get the introduction of Kizaru, which, by the way, I don't name a person with a colder entrance than Kizaru, because who rides on a cannonball to enter an island? Who else would? Like, bro is simply standing on business. Yeah, his introduction was great. His power is terrifying as well. Having the power of like light. He's a Logia type. Yeah, he was causing terror. well, not causing terror, but trying to like stop the pirates. And then of course the Kumas are back, and we learn and like we notice that like the Kuma that we see when they get to the Straw Hats, or that doesn't have a Bible or something. The real Kuma does, and it's eventually revealed that like once the Straw Hats manage to beat him with very large amounts of effort. By the way, I must preface that yeah, that is what it's called. He's not the real Kuma, and then we see duplicates. We see a second one. We see another one as well. And we hear I think it's like that moment on or something. When we hear the command of Luffy to run, which that's how you know it's serious, because Luffy would never say that otherwise if they weren't in. As you know, he's never said that. Even during Long Reign Long Land, where they had no hope against Aokichi. But yeah, that was terrifying. I mean, that was like a scary moment to read, and eventually oh yeah, Zoro. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Zoro was the first to go because he actually had PTSD from the fight, and literally Sanji had to yell him to dodge for one of the fights, but eventually the real Kuma, the one in the Bible, makes Zoro gone, and we don't know where he went at the time. And yeah, seeing Luffy being that was, man, and just like seeing the right hand man of your team, the second strongest member, just gone like that is terrifying. That's how you know it was over. So yeah, they had to keep running, but it was no use. They kept going, and they kept going one by one. I think it was, I'm trying to remember the order. Actually, I'm not even gonna bother. Brook, Chopper. No, not Chopper. Brook, Usopp, Sanji, and all Nami, Chopper. After going into Monster Point, they were just all gone. And then lastly Robin. Just seeing all of his friends just like gone. Like Luffy doesn't know. Nobody knows how Kuma's power works. So people like were assuming that he's gone. And Kizaru was there initially, but Rayleigh ended up holding him off. But yeah, Luffy just seeing like all his friends just disappear one by one, seeing how he literally has no one left, and seeing him break down hurts so much. Especially in the anime as well. That part was animated very well. But yeah, that hurt. So does my voice. Holy crap! Why is it doing that? But yeah, just the ending of Sabaody was tragic and really well done. So props. And this was done in 24 chapters. This is shorter than Arlong Park of all things. But yeah, I'm easily just gonna put that right there in S tier where it belongs. Yeah. Okay. Amazon Lily time. This is such a weird arc to like talk about. And not necessarily because it's bad or anything. It's really good. I'm not saying that, but because it kind of serves like a point of both levity and setup, which I guess it's like another pivot arc like Foxy was, and like Long Lane was. Introduction of Boa, Island of Woman. We get to see like scenes where Luffy's like thinking about his crew that he can't do any of this stuff without. The arc is also very funny. I will say that it's one of the funniest arcs, alongside Thriller Bark. introduction of Boa, an amazing warlord. I'll say that. Her gag about looking down on people so much that she basically just like basically has to like flip her head the other way or something. But that's how much she sees them below them. Anyways, I was a little concerned about her at first when I found out that her fruit's the love fruit or whatever. Because I thought there was like supposed to be like some sort of stereotype, but once we learned the actual reason why she has the fruit, then that changed real quick. The fight with the two sisters and Luffy was great. Man, there's a lot that happened. Luffy covering the mark behind their backs because they knew that it was something. It was like something that they couldn't show, and then there's something up. And also like, Luffy would kind of like recognize that there's something important that they needed to cover. And so the fight eventually ends, and we like Luffy was fighting for the two people that turned to a statue, like to like be unstatued or whatever. Yeah, and then we learned the reason why. We learned more about Boa because Luffy. Well, one because Luffy shattered all of Boa's expectations about men, and that she was willing to bring Luffy in to trade him, and also just like here, like kind of revealed to her about stuff. Her story was like, whoa. It's like the fact that implied horror was used to talk about like the tragedy of her story was something, that she was like sold as slaves and stuff. There was this one channel I watched called The Drock Show, and I've been watching the streams where his mom like reviews like One Piece and stuff, and hearing her insights have been like hearing her insights have been like amazing in general, and like just what's it called, elevated my opinions on a lot of these arcs. But when they were talking about Amazon Lily, she said that like it was what's it called, Boa's story is an allegory for for a comfort woman. I'm not going to be talking about that here, but if you just look up the term comfort woman, you can do a bit of research on it. But yeah, but like when she mentioned that, I could see it after doing. I had to do some research because I wasn't really familiar with this term, but after like looking at it, I was like, yeah, I can definitely see why that is. And given how Japan has like a general idea of like keeping dark parts of their past kind of hidden or taboo to talk about, I gotta give Oda props to like speaking about it as pretty much as loudly as he could without getting in like real trouble for it. So that's kind of what made me like respect that decision, like one, respect Boa as a character a lot more, and two, respect Oda a lot more as a writer for being able to talk about this kind of topic in such a taboo environment to do that. But yeah, this was just a very good. And then of course after that Luffy finally learns about Ace's execution in in Marineford, and he's gonna be executed there soon. And so Luffy makes the decision, instead of returning to Sabaody in a few days, that he will go to Marineford and to save his brother. So we're using the Vivier card to help him get there. And we learn about like we heard about Impel down in Marineford thanks to Aokiji back in Longland. But what's it called? Yeah, we learned about it back then, but we don't really learn like how it works necessarily, like the system inside the Gates of Justice. Um, but yeah, we see how that works. We've seen that only Navy ships can really navigate through that area, and so Boba uses their status to help Luffy sneak on and get to Impel Down, and that's pretty much the end of the arc. It's only 10 chapters, which it's really surprised me how short it is, but it is rich. It is rich, and it's not too long. It doesn't take anything away from the overarching narrative, and it does, and it's much needed. It is such a good arc. Oh my goodness, it's like wow, it's like you can really see him coming to his own, like Oda coming to his own as a writer, like especially in this saga in particular, because it is really good stuff. Like I will, yeah, I would put this. In my opinion, I think this is also S tier. I'm putting this just over Post Enies Lobby. Impel Down, awesome. It is awesome. Impel Down is so well paced. I literally couldn't stop reading it once I started. I read the whole thing beginning to end in one go, which is pretty rare. I had a chance to do it when I was on like a train, but yeah, it pulled out exceptional pacing, and what else? Also, a lot of really cool returning characters came back as well. Buggy's back. He ended up in Impel Down. We got Bon Clay, which is awesome. Seeing him back in action is great, and he's even better here than he is in Alabasta, which respect. And then who else? We get Crocodile. We get Ace, of course. We get to see Garp again, like physically there. We get to see the last warlord that we haven't seen in person, at least, Jinbei. Who else am I forgetting? Mr. 3, of course. Mr. 3 was definitely my biggest surprise. Like I knew he got sent to Impel Down, but I liked him a lot more here than I thought I would. And then Buggy I like even more than I already did from Orange Town. But yeah, my voice is like getting rough, so I'm gonna keep my thoughts on this one pretty short. But it is a really well done Prison Break. The way it was designed was like perfect for a Hell on Earth scenario, and they really made sure. Well, Oda really made sure that there's a reason why no one gets out on Impel Down. Luffy is an exception though, because Luffy, I'll come back to that in a second, but Luffy is an exception for a reason. One, because he's the main character, but two, because of a reason I'll talk about in Marineford. Yeah. But Gelid is terrifying. We get to see straight up gore of my main character, Luffy, when they fought each other. We get to see Ivankov being like the queen of hell. Her just being like an amazing or him, I don't know. Ivankov's like a great representation. It's just great. Yeah, oh yeah, Blackbeard showed up at the end. I need to cut this short. And Impel Down is amazing. It is exceptionally well paced. It does a really good job meshing through the plot of like Luffy trying to run down and save Ace and like chaos with that, and then the conversations between Ace and Jinbei about Luffy and about and there's like stuff in general. It was amazingly well done, and the antagonists were pretty good. The only person I didn't really care for was that one woman. I forgot her name, but if you know, she was like one of the guards or something. But yeah, that. Then we get to see Blackbeard. Jinbei helps Luffy like for not waste his energy attacking him. Yeah, I, and then of course they escape on the Navy ships because Jinbei is him. Yeah, that's about as much as I'm willing to cover because my throat is like giving way now. Easy S tier. Right, I'm putting it right there. And then we get Marineford. Yay! I think we know where this is going. This is an all-timer. This could be like this is like Chimera. This reminds me of Chimera Ant. This is one of the arcs that's like it's just a pure accomplishment that it's as good as it is. Like it's just a pure achievement. Cause how do I put this? So many plot points come together and climax up Marineford in a perfect manner. It is so well done. Like what's more that's needed to be said about Marineford? What's it called? Ace is literally the perfect like plot structure for all these points to come together because first off we got Luffy, of course. He's his brother. He's gonna save Ace. Well, he's revealed not to be his actual brother, but you get the point. Yeah, he's gonna save Ace. And then you have Whitebeard's crew. First off, we get to see Whitebeard again in action, which is awesome. We get Whitebeard's crew because Ace was second in command. So of course they're gonna save him, and this is declaring war on Whitebeard. And then you obviously have the Marines that are gonna be there. And then of course Sengoku's plan to like get people to do it, and they do it like on schedule because they're like I love how Sengoku's plan is like to basically bring everyone in and have the timer be there to like provide more time for them to get closer before they trap them in the walls and like corner them, whatever. That was a great plan. However, main character energy. Also, the way Luffy and them came in was so. It was done in the most Luffy way possible. Just like how they fell from Skypiea. They fall from the sky to get in the Marineford, which is so good. So good. Oh my gosh. I want to keep gushing about Marineford in particular, but it's so difficult when my voice is shot like this. I need someone to talk to about this, bro. Oh my gosh. Anyways, Marineford is an S+ tier. We get the two donut holes, Ace and Whitebeard. First off, jokes aside, those are actually very emotional moments and very well done moments. Like, okay, I will say Ace's death in particular didn't affect me that hard, but the part that hit me was his like what he was saying to Luffy afterwards, because that hurt, and especially his last line, "Thank you for loving me." That hurt a lot. But there's been some debates about how he died, but I think it was perfect because what we've seen of Ace, and especially what we learned about in his backstory in post-war, as part of his backstory in post-war, he is a very hot-headed member, and like Luffy at the beginning of the series, he didn't know how to let things go that were like insignificant, and Luffy was able to receive this kind of lesson, one because of Shanks back in Romance Dawn during the bar scene, and two because of Vivi back in Drum Island. Like I said, that moment, and also in Alabasta, those moments in particular are so crucial to why Ace died here. Well, why Luffy survived when Ace didn't. Because Ace Because Ace never got to be a captain. He never got to really put these lessons into action. He never got the chance to have these lessons, and it backfired. And that backfired on him because he put Luffy in. He put other people in danger, in general, including Luffy here. Yeah, including Luffy, because the only reason, because at that point the only way that he was able to save Luffy from Akainu was to die, and that's what it cost. But he realized that too late, so there wasn't any other way to save Luffy. And this is where we are now. Ace is dead. Whitebeard was pretty much was on his deathbed anyway. He said, "Come with me if you want to die," or something like that. But yeah, Luffy, like this arc really shows why Luffy is such a threat to the world government in general, and why you can't really consider, like, it's also why it's hard to, like, consider Luffy having, like, severe plot armor during Marineford, which, I mean, there's always a little bit of plot armor in stories, but in this case, it really shows, like, Luffy is not that strong. Like, he's barely cracking top 50 out of the list of people that are here, but what makes him so formidable is that he's able to draw people to, like, help him, and every step of the way that he was getting closer to, like, Ace and stuff, it was through the help of other people. And like during his quick interaction with Mihawk, that Mihawk made that analysis about Luffy, which is why, despite his strength, he has the most formidable tool that most other people that almost nobody else there has. But Luffy was amazing in this arc, of course, and it's not his fault that Ace died, which he did break Ace out of the thing despite everything. It's just Ace is a dummy head and didn't learn how to let things go. That lesson was never ingrained to him by anyone. But yeah, and at the end of the arc, where Shanks comes in. I also want to mention Luffy's hockey has been going crazy during Marineford as well, and also to see near the end that, like, when Akainu was getting ready to kill Jinbei, because Jinbei was defending Luffy because he liked Luffy. And Kobe steps in the way. His hockey. Kobe has awakened. What was it? Observation hockey. But yeah, that was so great. And seeing the chapter that this happened is called "A Few Seconds of Courage." And man, that was such a huge moment for Kobe. I'm so proud of him. I am so proud of Kobe. He is. Wow. I'm so impressed by him. And Akainu was not gonna take that lightly, bro. And so he went in for the kill, but Shanks comes in the way to end the war. And also Shanks, bro, Shanks is how you command respect. Because my goodness, he is, like, all he asks, he handles it in the most mature way possible. Like, similar to how Kobe is, but Kobe doesn't have the strength to enforce it. But yeah, there was also Blackbeard getting Whitebeard's devil fruit. There's also Garp as well. It was very emotional seeing him. Seeing him in this turmoil. That's why Luffy was able to even land a punch on him. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Marineford is awesome. S+ tier. And finally, post-war. This is the last one. Oh, my voice is done for. First off, we get another moment that made me cry. There were other moments that made me. We get another moment that made me cry. Was a panel in post-war where Luffy was just breaking things and breaking shit after he passed. First off, Luffy passing out when Ace died. That hurt so much. And Marineford back in Marineford. And he literally passed out. Wakes up 4 days, I think it was like 4 days later or something. But days later, and the first thing he's just yelling Ace. And I think it took him a minute. It took him a little bit, but he realized he's like recalling what everything that happened to him, including Ace dying on his arms. And he just starts like just breaking shit because he can't take it. It was literally Luffy's breaking point. And just seeing that, and then seeing like Jinbei come in, and just watching Luffy just break down, like out of anger and stuff, and like, man, Jinbei can only watch in silence. And then the page where Jinbei's just saying, the page where Luffy was just yelling at Jinbei, just saying, Ace is dead, isn't he? And then Jinbei just responds like the most, like, he just tells how it is. Yes, he is dead. Luffy just starts crying. It hurts so much to see him just, like, it hurts so much seeing like such a much more like joyful, like, you cannot find a guy more joyful than Luffy. And just see him at his lowest. Jinbei the tears, like when he was seeing it hurts so much. That part made me cry because it hurt really bad. But yeah, eventually Jinbei steps in and tells him like, you need to fight through this, and all. Jinbei, what's it called? Shanks tells, Shanks was like, Shanks. Actually, hold on. There was during this section, there was like cuts to like other people's like reactions about it, including the Straw Hats and Shanks and all that jazz. Just like we relive this pain. When we cut to Shanks, he just tells him you need to fight, you need to fight through it. It's okay to be weak and cry, but you need to get to the other side and all. Which is true, by the way. That is a good lesson. But like Jinbei is like telling him, just Ace is dead. You can't change the past. You can't go back. You just have to keep moving forward. You got to think about who you have right now in your life and then he realizes that like and Luffy starts counting. He starts counting, and once he counts everyone, it's like, I have my crew. That was such a good moment. And then soon after we get Luffy's backstory. Well, a more extended backstory of like 10 years ago when he was 7. In his time with Ace and Sabo. That backstory takes up like the majority of the arc from there. But I will. There's a lot to talk about with that arc, but to put it simply, it was a much needed backstory that could not, honestly, like, there were some aspects of the backstory that could have come earlier, like mainly the stuff revolving Ace himself, but I think its placement in terms of being a backstory for Luffy, it cannot have come at a better time. Sabo is neat. I like Sabo, and I do find it funny how that nobody thought Sabo was actually dead in that fake out thing, which is very funny. But yeah, we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens with Sabo. I know. I've seen what he looks like as like current Sabo, so I know he's alive, but I don't really know when he comes or what's gonna happen. I don't know. I don't really know. From what the backstory gave me, he seems like a solid character. But yeah, the backstory is cool. And then we get then like after the backstory, Luffy goes back to Marineford, where nobody was expecting to be. By the way, most of the post-war happened during is happening during Amazon Lily, where Luffy's at, because Boa took him there, because Boa pursued him there, and allowed Law's crew to heal him. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, Luffy rings the bell 16 times, and that signifies, it signifies like a new era of some sort. But the reason why he did that was because of a message, and I love how he doesn't reveal Oda doesn't reveal the actual message until like after we see every Straw Hat reading it and understanding it. I think the only one who didn't understand was Zoro, but he's gonna train with me. But he knows that we're gonna be there. He has to. That they'll be back in 2 years, because 3D 2Y. I love that like Luffy ringing the bell takes away from the tattoo, and that it's a message that only the Straw Hats will get. So, in 2 years they'll return to Sabaody. I'm hoping to read it right now, but I have homework, so I'm going to do that later. Anywho, post-war was absolutely incredible. I am going to put this right under Sabaody, I think. Actually, wait, no. There's Skypiea. No, post-war is really good. I'll put it here. Yeah, that's the list. Thanks for watching. I tripped, fell down the stairs, fell down the 14th floor, and hit my head on 3 tiles of concrete, and dizzified myself in the water to make this list, but we did it eventually. Anyways, wait, no. Let me see if there's anything I want to change real quick. I think I'll move Syrup Village up a tier. Yeah. Yeah, that's the list. I'm gonna save this. Alright. That's the list. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys in another video or something. Bye-bye. My throat's shot as well, so I'm gonna stop